So we're back on the grill today and we're trying something new, something I've never done before. Let's get to it. Hey, what's up y'all? Welcome to BKC Cooks. I'm Brandon Carpenter and today we are gonna try a smoked meatloaf. I've been known to make a mean meatloaf from time to time and I've never done one on the grill because it always seemed like kind of a hassle, but sick of being in the house, sick of cooking in the house. I got a bunch of wood, bunch of charcoal, so I'm gonna give this a try. I usually season my meatloaf much different than what you would normally do. I don't do ketchup or anything like that. I add a lot of steak type seasonings and flavors to my meatloaf because, I mean, if you're gonna eat ground beef, you gotta make it interesting, man. And so I think smoking this thing is gonna be pretty damn interesting as well. So the biggest challenge, I do believe, is going to be getting that meatloaf to stay put. I would imagine as that ground beef heats up, it's going to start seeping through the grates. So what I did was I mixed my meatloaf up and then I froze it. And I'm going to have it frozen for about 3 hours. I don't think it's going to be frozen solid, but I just wanted to keep its shape as it starts to cook. And again, I've never done this, y'all, so y'all gonna be along for the ride. We'll see how this thing works out. So I'm gonna get my fire going, get my wood burning, make sure my son finishes his last day of school. Say hi, son.
Hello.
And we'll see how this thing turns out. It'll taste good if it doesn't fall apart, that's for sure. So let's get everything going and let's see where this goes. Okay, so I've got 2.5 pounds of 80/20 ground chuck. I added 2 teaspoons of beef bouillon powder and some fresh cracked pepper to that. Also gonna add 2 eggs. I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of steak sauce. You can use your favorite steak sauce, doesn't matter which one, whichever one you like. Then we'll add a teaspoon of garlic powder. And we'll also add a teaspoon of onion powder. Then I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs. Pinch of salt, and we'll give this a good mix. Not going to over salt this because we're going to add some salty stuff towards the end. Mix this up well, don't overwork it, just get it to the point where everything is mixed together and it can hold its shape. Don't forget to cook up a little piece and taste it, make sure all your seasonings are right where you want them to be. So now I've got my loaf shaped up. I'm going to wrap this in plastic, get ready to throw it in the freezer. So shape it up as best you can, wrap it up. I'm going to stick this in the freezer for 3 hours. At the 3-hour mark, I'm going to go start my fire. Oh, I got made fire. You don't know what that's from?
I don't know where that's from.
That's all right, y'all, so my fire is built. She's running about 275, which is right where I want to be. And I got my meatloaf on, and I got a temperature probe right in the middle. The way this thing works is there's a little control box, display, whatever you want to call it. And that number on the left shows you what the temperature of that meat is right now. And at 145 is what I'm going for. That's where I want it to alert me. Once it gets to 145, I'm gonna baste it and season the outside because I want to make like a little crust, almost like a prime rib type crust or something like that. But we're just gonna tend this fire, let this thing rock and roll. It's burning beautifully. I got good wood. Got some post oak from B&B. If you haven't tried that, try those people. That wood is always spot on, but my fire is rolling good. We're in business, so we'll get back to it when that alarm goes off. Y'all, it's been about a little over 4 hours. I've been smoking this meatloaf. I haven't opened the lid once. Looking ain't cooking. But my alarm's going off. We got to 145. I'm gonna start, put a little glaze, if you will, on this thing. And build up a little crust because it's almost done. Should be done here probably about another 15 minutes, as far as done as I want it to be. And so we're going to take a look at this thing and see how it's turning out. I'm anxious to see how it's going to come out, because again, I've never done this before, not like this. I've never done meatloaf on the grill, especially never smoked one. So we're going to get this thing opened up and take a look at it. All right, so right now we're rocking around 250. I tried to keep it between 250 and 275. And it's been pretty consistent. I had a tough time at first getting my logs going, but it's been a real humid day. But once I got it dialed in, it's been trucking ever since. So let's open this lid and see what we're working with. Oh yeah, that looks pretty damn good, y'all. It's a little misshapen, but I shaped it by hand. I didn't use a loaf pan because, believe it or not, I don't have one, which I thought I did, but probably didn't make the move from the old house, so I have to grab one. But it looks great. Doesn't feel tough. It's barky, but it's not hard. Yeah, I do believe that's going to be pretty good. So what I'm going to do is, I got some steak sauce here, and I added some coarse cracked black pepper, and I'm going to glaze that on there because I want to make like a glaze or crust similar like what I would do with a prime rib. And I don't do prime rib with steak sauce. I just want this crunchy, peppery type of crust. All right, now that I've got that good and saucy, I'm just going to sprinkle this with some kosher salt. When I seasoned this thing, I didn't salt it very heavily. We had a little bit of bouillon powder in there, and that was more for flavor. And we had a pinch of salt, but I didn't put a lot of salt. And pro tip, when you're making meatloaf or hamburgers or anything where you're doing ground meat and you're mixing up a bunch of stuff, do yourself a favor. After you've mixed it and you got it seasoned the way you think you should, just take a little piece and cook it. And if you do that, then you can taste what the rest of it is going to taste like. That we don't have a big batch of something and all it was not enough salt, or there wasn't enough of this or that. Only takes a few seconds. Just cook like a dime-sized piece, man, and taste it. And then you can make adjustments, and you don't have to, make the whole batch of what you're cooking be bland or off. You can have it exactly the way you want it. So that's what I did. And so again, I just want like that salty crust on there, and steak sauce is something that'll glaze up well, I do believe. We'll see here soon. And I mean, it's ground beef, man. I mean, it just don't have a ton of flavor, at least not to me. So I think it's a good way to kind of juice things up a bit. So I'm going to let this smoke for probably about another 15 or 20 minutes just till that glaze sets up. And we're going to pull this off, let it rest, and we'll slice and serve. And I got a feeling this one's going to be pretty good. All right, y'all, so we got that meatloaf off the smoker. It's been resting for about 15 minutes. I just tinted it in foil to keep it warm. I sliced it. Not a lot of juice running out of it, but it looks super moist. So we're going to dig into it and see what we're working with here. I cut off an end piece. Whoa, almost dropped that something. I cut off an end piece, and as you can see, I have got a beautiful smoke ring. Not unlike what you would get on a brisket or any other big piece of meat that you smoke. But it's just a ring, it didn't go all the way through, so I'm confident that it's not over smoked. Oh, but it is juicy. Oh boy. And this is the end piece, y'all. Look at that. Okay. Well, let's see. Yeah. That's pretty damn good. Again, it's juicy. Not over smoked. That thing was on that smoker for several hours. So I was kind of worried that it would be over smoked, but it's not. Again, a beautiful smoke ring, y'all. I gotta say, I'm pretty damn impressed with myself. I just I used oak logs. I started it with lump charcoal and put my logs in and kept them going. I ended up using 4 logs for the whole cook, and I probably got a half a log left that I snuffed off, and I'll save my fuel for later, but this is pretty good. I like the way that glaze set up. I'll definitely eat this again. And you should try it. Try it and let me know what you think. Leave your comments, leave your suggestions. And as always, y'all, do me a favor. Hit that bell. Hit that subscribe button. That way you're notified when I drop a new video. I have to say, y'all, this is the first time I tried something for the first time on camera. Had no idea how it was going to turn out. I've seen the idea of smoked meatloaf. I've seen a lot of people's videos on YouTube, or I should say I've seen the titles, I've seen the thumbnails, but I never watched anyone's because I kind of wanted to go my own direction and make sure I wasn't leaning towards what I saw other people doing. So I just went by the techniques that I know and just my common sense when it comes to cooking. And I have to say, this time it led me in the right direction. This was really good. So again, hope y'all try it. Let me know what you think. And again, thank y'all for watching, and I wish good eating to y'all. Y'all stay safe and enjoy. Take care.